Wow. So thanks, COVID-19, for totally trying to screw with everybody's lives, right? It's a little bit nuts right now. Hi, everybody. I'm Jen Anderson. And as your career coach, I wanted to talk a little bit about what you can do to help yourself during this COVID-19 when it comes to what am I doing with managing my career and work and whatnot. So one of the things that I'm hearing from the scientists, from the medical people, etc., is how important it is that we distance ourselves from other people. So that's why you're seeing things like big conferences and events that are in person being canceled and transitioning over to virtual conferences, networking events that are being canceled, or like small networking groups and whatnot that are opting to not meet for a month or two, so that whole proximity to other people can be eliminated. So when we think about managing a career, I'm always telling you guys, get out there and network, connect with people, do the face-to-face thing, right? Well, if we adhere to the medical advice, which is to keep that 6-foot bubble around yourself, then networking with other people gets a little bit awkward when they're that far away. Like, just measure out between yourself and 6 feet, and you'll realize, wow, that's kind of far away. And if you're like in this large room with a bunch of people trying to talk to somebody that's that far away, it'll be all sorts of #awkward, right? So basically, what I would encourage you to do during this time is, instead of freaking out and saying, okay, I can't go to networking events, I can't go to these conferences, can't attend these workshops, etc., that's okay. What can you do instead that's virtual training that you can get, or virtual connecting with people? And so here is a couple of tips. So for example, if you have been attending any networking events sometime in the last 6 to 12 months, you've probably met people in person there that you have not followed up with them, right? So this is what you can do. You can go back and say, okay, who did I meet? What were their business cards? Do I still have them, etc.? Or however it is that you connected with them, right? So hopefully you got their business cards, or if not, did you connect with them on LinkedIn? And if you didn't connect with them on LinkedIn, then connect with them on LinkedIn. And then, so if you are connected on LinkedIn, then it's very easy to just send a message and say, hey, so would you like to have a little virtual coffee meetup or something, or a virtual lunch meeting, where I'll eat my lunch at my desk and you eat lunch at your desk, and we can use something like Zoom or Join.me or something like that. And so that way you can have that follow up with that person and be respectful of, let's not share our cooties, because the idea is there's a big steep curve around the COVID-19 that's showing up. It's also known as coronavirus, right? So what we're trying to do is eliminate this huge curve and just kind of make it so it's not quite as large of a curve of people being impacted and affected. So we can still connect with each other digitally. It's totally fine to do that. So good opportunity now to connect with those people that you've already met with in person previously, even if you just met with them a month ago. Perfect opportunity to say, hey, it was so good to meet you at that last such and such networking event. Let's connect. Let's grab a virtual coffee. And in doing that, it gives you the opportunity to continue to connect and continue to develop relationships with people. And they're going to love the fact that you're being creative and not trying to force, let's get together for lunch or grab breakfast or get together after work or something like that, where people are going to feel a little bit nervous about having those in-person connections. So do what you can to connect virtually as much as you can. And there's wonderful resources to do that. Also, another thing that you might want to look at is asking your boss if you can work from home. And so that is a bigger conversation, right? And probably a lot of companies and executives are having these conversations right now, like, how do we protect our people? Because nobody wants the economy to shut down just because there's a virus going around, right? I mean, the flu season happens every year. It doesn't mean the economy shuts down. It's just something that we learn to manage and wash our hands, right? Big idea. And so if your boss isn't already talking to you about it, bring it up with them and say, hey, why don't we explore working from home so that we can continue to stay healthy and continue to take care of our customers and continue to do work. And so by bringing it up, You don't want to approach and be like, boss, you need to make sure that this is happening. This is totally bad. Blah, blah. Like, try not to get all aggressive about it. Instead, come from this place of being helpful to say, hey, can I help you think through some stuff, or what's going on? How can I support this? And so then that way you can have this opportunity to collaborate with your peers, because a lot of people sit closer than 6 feet from each other. Think about those staff meetings that you have, right? Where you're around a conference table, you're right next to people or across from people. And so even if you're in an office space where you have a closed door area and you don't interact with people, you're still walking through public areas or using the same bathrooms, the same break rooms, things like that. And if that is the case, that you just basically show up and go straight to your office and you close the door, then why not just do that from home if you can? So look at that as an option for you to help. Again, these are some of those things that you can do so that you can still do work. We can still make sure that things are happening. Obviously, there's some jobs where you can't do it, where it's customer service, where you're interacting with people. And just do your very best to wash your hands, have a hand sanitizer, keep your workspace clean. One of the recommendations is to sanitize the actual surfaces, because apparently the coronavirus can live on the surfaces for a while. So if somebody touches that surface and they have it on their hands, and then you touch the surface, then you could get it on your hands. And then the other thing too is avoid your face. So don't touch your eyes, don't touch your nose, things like that, because that's where the virus can get in really easily. So just try to avoid touching your face when you're out in the public. And again, this is not the world according to Jen. This is stuff that, the CDC and different science, medical people, whatever they're talking about. These are things we can do. But I think it's imperative that each of us look for, how do we manage our own career, our own life through this stuff. And it doesn't mean that everything has to shut down, right? Or if you're doing a job search, it doesn't mean like, oh boy, that's it. I can't do a job search anymore. Well, maybe just do interviews virtually instead. And so when they call you up to say, hey, since everybody's trying to avoid the spread of COVID-19, why don't we just do a virtual interview? And they'll probably appreciate that too. And so anyhow, all that kind of stuff will help to, again, not have this big sharp curve of COVID. Instead, have it just be a little bit more mild and not as impactful for our communities. So there's some tips for you to help you as you're managing your career through this COVID-19 crazy time. And down in the comments, let me know what you guys have to say about this and things that maybe you're doing in your workplace, or what you're doing to help yourself with managing your career through this time. And as always, I have my virtual training for you guys, which is Career Central. And this is where I do virtual trainings every month. And so come join me every month. We've got some cool stuff going on to help you with growing your career, so you don't have to leave work and you can continue to get the training that you need when you need it. All right, my friends, thanks so much. And I'll see you next time. Bye.